This is a very impactful passage that I would encourage you to study. We don't have time to consider it on the broadcast today as far as the context on either side of this, but I want you to consider this. God always causes us to triumph in Christ. Did it look like Paul was always triumphing in Christ? He was arrested, he was beaten, he was stoned and left for dead. He was shipwrecked, floating around in the sea on a number of occasions, more than one occasion. He's arrested, sure, but how does he triumph in that? He ends up converting people, preaching to people. He ends up baptizing people. Think of the Philippian jailer, for instance. Paul appeals to Caesar, ends up in Caesar's palace, as it were, and to the Philippians, he makes reference of people from Caesar's household saluting them. Well, that could be irony, it could be sarcasm, but I would rather believe that Paul had even converted people who were there in Caesar's household to the faith, because he's there preaching, and everywhere he goes, there are people who are elected of God unto salvation. He goes, he suffers affliction, but even in affliction, he preaches and people are converted. And so everywhere he goes, he triumphs in Christ as he makes manifest the savor of his knowledge by us in every place. But what about the moments when we are not visibly triumphing, as it were? What about when a person is put to death? You know what Romans chapter 8 says about when a child of God is put to death? In death, we are more than conquerors through Christ who loved us. In death, we are more than conquerors. So the worst that the world can do to us is take our lives, and in taking our lives, we literally go to be with God in glory. We go to be with Christ. So we are always triumphing in Christ. It just doesn't look like triumph as the world would define it.